Alrighty, today is August the 20th, 2021. It is 12:08 p.m. and today I decided today is going to be the day that I explain why I requested prayer on June 14th of 2021 of this year. Okay, get myself together here. I've been trying to been trying to do this, but it seems that every time I speak on it, I end up hyperventilating. My breathing gets very short. My heart races, and my mind, and like you see, I'm moving around my eyes, and I never do this when I do videos, but now for some reason I'm doing it so I can work out of that. So this is what happened on June the 11th. Well, let me go back. November 14th of 2015. A few of you may know, me and my mother, when she was living, was rear-ended by a gentleman driving, coming from Sam's Club in Owens Mill back towards the city of Baltimore. And so what happened is, God told me to look up. I looked up, and I seen a guy constantly looking back and forth in his passenger seat, back and forth, reaching back and forth. And so I told my mother, I said, this guy, I don't know if he eating whatever he's doing. I said, but he will cause an accident. He ain't even paying attention to the road. So I said, let me get out this lane. So finally maneuver, and we was above 295. So now we below 295. And so I was able to, right before we get to Old Court, right before we get to Old Court, I was able to maneuver out of the lane and get away from them. So we ride along. Again, traffic was kind of, not heavy, but it was steady. So next thing I know, I hear God say again, look up. So I look up in the rearview mirror, and this guy is behind me again. He's really reaching over, running, looking back and forth, and I'm like, what in the world is he doing? So I don't know if he's on the computer, if he's on the phone, what he's doing. But I said, he gonna cause. I said, oh my God, I can feel him. I said, he gonna cause an accident. I gotta get away from this. I gotta get away from this dude. So the lady, and so where we were coming down towards the city, it was cars parked here. So we only in one lane, and there's two lanes of traffic coming up. So, excuse me. So what happens is, when the lady in front of us turned to the right, made that right turn, I heard God say to step on the gas. So as soon as I hit the gas to go off. As soon as I went to take off, bam, we got hit from the back. And the guy's passenger side bumper hit the driver's side bumper. So all of the impact came over to my side, just by the grace of God, it came over to my side, not my mother's, and not both, but my side. And it just hit us to the degree that if we would have been any further separated, he would have went in two lanes of traffic. Nonetheless, the guy was very apologetic. He stated that he had two ferrets that he just bought because his landlord don't allow him to have dogs, and they broke out of the box. He didn't feel that he needed a cage because he wasn't that far from home, which he lived in the Pikesville area. So, nonetheless, fast forward to now. Oh no, I don't want to skip a speech. So anyway, I ended up going to the hospital at that time, because at the time I went into the dashboard. So my neck and my lower back was, my knees was kind of bothering me. And then less than 24 hours later, I wasn't able to lift this arm up because I still got a rotator cuff tear that I'm dealing with from that accident. So nonetheless, got an attorney, found out that attorney was shady, and actually stole the PIP money, pocketed the PIP money, and was doing all kinds of stuff. Even to the degree of saying that I was bedridden with bed sores and trying to get another type of settlement other than what they were telling me. Fired them. God made me aware. So fast forwarding to 2018, a friend that I knew used to hang out with, he said, look, I got this attorney, they just was dealing with this 9/11. They real good. I had since I was 16. They good peoples and this and that. So I went over, I spoke to the person, one of the partners, definitely was straightforward. Like, I'm not sure, just beneficial for us to take. I got to speak to my partner. They decided to take it. He was supposed to have it. He passed it off for some reason to this other attorney and found out that The other attorney was trying to definitely do some back end deals. I approached the partners about it, to let them know what was going on, because I don't know if they was part of it and they just had him do it, or he was just trying to do this thing on his own. But nonetheless, I ended up firing them. So then I'm on my own. So just by the grace of God, I was able to file it. I only had like I think a week or so left before I couldn't file anything. So I filed it. And in the interesting part, when I got my case file from the last attorney, then I found out that they told me, the one attorney was telling me they couldn't get no more than probably 15,000. And they was going to file in one court, but then the documents they sent me was also for another court for 75. So anyway, that's what that happened. So anyway, so I filed. So we finally get a court date. COVID pushed out a lot of stuff. So I had a court date to go into court on when was it? Oh yeah, June the 14th, 15th. So it was probably a 2-day trial. I asked for a jury trial. And so what happened is, on that Friday before the Tuesday we supposed to be going to trial, the judge asked for a last minute meeting with me and the defendant's attorney, which was Geico was representing him, even though they were separated from the case, in a sense of they wasn't a defendant, but they were representing him all of this way, still trying to make settlements throughout the years, even up to this point, before we got to court, like a couple of weeks before. And then all of a sudden, the attorney that I've been dealing with for years, he's gone, so-called, and this new one comes in 2 days before this hearing. So nonetheless, we get to this hearing. So I'm thinking, because the defendants filed a motion of lamity, which means that we don't want her to bring in certain evidence. So they were trying to get me not to be able to bring in medical records and other things like that. And they were saying that I never submitted anything to them, which I actually did, and I had the documents to prove it. So nonetheless, but I also noticed that on the court transcript, I noticed that the motion of lamity was already ruled on. So I'm like, well, I'm not sure why they bring this in, and maybe they just trying to go over it. I'm not sure what that was. So I was already prepared. If they don't allow me to bring it in, I stick with what I know. God showed me how to prepare this thing. I didn't lose any sleep over this thing. Like normally when I'm preparing for cases, I mean, I'm up. Sometimes I'm up 24, 36, even longer hours trying to do this overnight. I'm lacking on sleep and stuff like that. Never, none of that during this time. So the thing that got me was, we get in there, and so I'm thinking it's for that. And clearly, it immediately was evident that the judge had in mind that this is going to be a settlement hearing, which we already had over a year in 2019. So, and which I declined that offer. So, and it was some shaky stuff with that and that judge at that time. So I'm telling you, it's a lot of stuff. So, nonetheless, we're in here, and she starts off, and he quickly goes to, well, I see that there was some talk about a settlement. Is the settlement still, is the offer still here? She didn't mention, and when she mentioned that, it was in my complaint, but that was from 2016 and later 2017, early 2018. When I talk about that, she didn't mention anything about the settlement hearing we had, and she purposely did that. So nonetheless, the defendant gets up, and the defendant says, yes, final offer of $40,000. That's it. That's our final offer. So, and he says, right, Ms. Lockett. So I said, well, that's not accurate. And so I started going into the settlements that was offered and trying to get to the last one that was the two last ones, which was the settlement hearing we had, which I denied it. And again, a couple of weeks ago, they offered to be open up for the settlement talks, and I declined that. So as I was doing this, she cuts me off, and she goes right to him and says, well, is that offer still on the table? Now, he just said it was a last and final settlement. So she asked him, was it still on the table? He said, yes, it's still on the table. So I put up my hand like this, trying to be respectful, because one thing I know, I do human rights work, and I also represented myself in several cases, and been very successful only by the grace of God and the help of God. But you know some ins and outs. And one thing that I have noticed with certain judges is that if a person is cutting them off or they feel like the person is cutting them off, talking over them, or anything like that, not only will they penalize them, but they can actually throw their case out, saying that they were I can't think of the word I'm trying to use right now, but they can actually get their person case thrown, like stopped and ended, and it gets nothing. So I'm trying to be respectful, because I already know my name is synonymous throughout the whole Maryland court system, with a lot of folk, and even the House and the Senate, all that, with a lot of folk. So I don't know how this judge is rolling. So I'm trying to be respectful. But when I put my hand up, she did like this to tell me to put my hand down, and she stalked over me. So I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, like, why is she not letting me talk? Then she goes into, well, I see, I read most of your complaint, and then she go, I read most of your complaint, and I see that you had a lot of things happen. She mentioned my mother passing away. She mentioned me dealing with homelessness and financial difficulties, all of the stuff she was mentioning. So as she's mentioning, I'm thinking, okay, she's trying to show me that she read my my complaint. But then I noticed she goes right into something else. She just cuts that off. It goes right into something else that has nothing at all, in no form or fashion, to do with what she just said. So now I'm sitting there thinking, like, why she bring that up? What did I have to do with what she's talking about now? So anyway, she goes on and on and on. And so after she did that, I'm still trying to get my point across. And I can tell I'm starting to, okay, so I'm gonna really shorten this down. I ended up getting cut. This hearing was 45 minutes. I was cut off. She literally cut me off from talking over 18 times, almost 24 times, and only 4 times did she acknowledge that she was cutting me off. The other one, she just cut me off. So what happened is like, when it was getting to the point where she didn't think I was going to settle, and right then and there, and not go to trial, she would cut me off, and then say some other stuff. She would go into how long she'd been a judge, and that the county residents, the county jury, they are very conservative, and post-COVID, how they might not be very sympathetic. And then she started going into these cases, talking about how excuse me, how I'm sorry for saying all this. I'm just trying to keep everything down, because I could tell because my voice is starting to get loud, and I could tell my breathing and stuff is getting funny. So trying to maintain that. So nonetheless, she just kept doing everything she could to try to get me in an emotional state. She mentioned the death of my mother at least 4 times. She mentioned me being homeless, about the same, me breaking my foot, and all these other variables. But the time that she was mentioning, only one time that it tied into what she said next. Everything else that she just kept bringing it up, as if she was trying to invoke an emotional reaction from me, or emotional distress from me, in order to get me to a point where I would accept. Because everything she said was just negative, negative, negative. Then she was like, "This is my court, and I'm gonna be the judge next week." So now I'm thinking, I'm sitting there, Lord, what do I do with this thing? Because I don't know what something's up with this lady. I know, but I can't put my finger on it. So it got to the point I was so stressed out, and I'm asking the Lord, because she kept saying, well, what do you think? And so when I'm not saying that I'm willing to take this, and I'm like, well, because of this, and I still want to get my surgery done when I can, and I want to be able to have the money to do it, but this won't settle in this way, will not allow me to do it. So she would cut me off in this and that. So I'm stressing I'm stressed out, because I'm like, this lady's going on and on. She keep repeating the same thing. And even at a point when, when I wasn't a heeding to what she wanted me to heed, because she was clearly trying to coerce me into the settlement. And when I wasn't heeding to what she was saying, then that's when she got to the point of, towards the end, well, I'm going to have to grant their motion. Now, mind you how she said that. Well, I'm going to have to. So that means since you're not settling, I'm going to have to grant their motion. Not that I'm granting their motion because they're right about what they did. And also, I kept trying to put my hand up, letting her know. And I said it a couple of times, like, I got the evidence here to show that they saying I didn't submit the information to them. And I have it right here to show that I submitted. She totally disregarded it, didn't want to see it, didn't want to hear it. She just acted like I didn't say anything. So now I'm racing through my mind, like, Lord, what do I do? What I do? What I do? And I mean, I'm talking so much in my own head, so stressed out that if God said something, I couldn't even hear him because I'm just in my own head. Then it got to the point where I end up settling. I'm rambling, not giving a distinct, straight answer. I'm rambling and letting her know that, me not bringing the stuff in, and then you saying all the stuff that you're saying, and you the person over this case, everything that you're saying, all this negative stuff. So I don't have no choice. And that's exactly what I said. I really don't have no choice. So then she said, okay, well, I'm gonna let them take the oath. So she cut me off again. So she naturally made her take this oath, figuring, okay, I got her. So let me go ahead and get her under oath, and then we can settle this before she gets some clarity here. So as I'm taking the oath, and I'm the kind of person I look at who I'm talking to. Okay, I'm getting up. Okay, I'm the kind of person I look at who I'm speaking with, and if I'm speaking to a group of people, I'm looking at each person at a time. But I'm taking this oath, so my hand is up, and I'm looking at the person, the clerk. And as I'm looking at the clerk, the Lord literally lifts my eyes up to the judge, and I see her do this. Like I said, got my hand up, and she do like this. Now the defendant, the lawyer for Geico, is over this side. I'm here. He's over here, and she leans back like this, looks at him like this, and smiles like this. She did. She didn't do it twice. She said, like I told you, like either I told you I can get it to settle, or we did it, but in some kind of agreement that I'm seeing. And I literally went into shock. I'm standing there and I'm looking, and then I look over at him, and he see me look over him because he's doing like this. And you can tell when somebody trying to make sure that you are thinking that they can't see you. He looking dead where she's at, but I know he sees me. And I'm sitting there, and outside of the CD that I got, because they have a video and an audio, and you get the written transcript. But the video is not available to me or anybody else. It stays in-house, which I thought was odd because the city is different. The city allows you to get a video transcript of this. So when I spoke to two different clerks in the records room for the video stuff, for the transcripts, both of them said clearly that it was recorded, but I couldn't get a copy. It's just in-house, and only like sheriffs and people like that can actually request copies. Nonetheless, okay, I see this. I don't remember nothing else I said after that. When I was listening to excuse me, the CD, some of the stuff I was answering, I was actually surprised. I'm like, I don't even talk like that, because I totally blanked out. I'm speaking, but I'm not really coherent of anything I'm saying after that. But one of the couple of things that I noticed, like I said, I end up counting it. Like I said, almost 2 dozen times she cuts me off. Another time, when I remember I told you I raised my hand to say, hey, we had these settlement offers, and I clearly am not. So I'm gonna turn this thing back on. And I'm clearly, come on, thing. And I'm clearly not interested in any settlement. And never got the chance to say that. And I noticed when she told me she did this, I didn't hear what she said. I remember her saying something and doing like this. But she said rest. Then I'm not standing. I'm not loud. I'm not anxious. I'm just like this. And rest is a synonym of sit. Like if you tell the dog to rest. Like people, that's what I come to find out. A lot of people tell their dogs to rest. So that was very bothersome. So Um, I leave out of there, and I am totally, totally distraught. I'm like, I'm confused because I remember asking, um, am I able to get a transcript? The judge seemed stunned, thrown off, and so did the attorney. They said it's just right next door. I walked up and down that hall for about 5 minutes or so, trying to find something that was next door. That's how messed up I was. And so, nonetheless, um, after that, I'm sitting in the car. I'm just crying. I'm weeping. I'm just going through it because I keep apologizing to God because I know He showed me how to do this, and He said if they don't allow you to bring this in, this is what you do. And then I'm at the point where I allowed myself to be coerced into a settlement that I always, not denied, but always rejected, regardless of what it was, from when it was $9,929 to when it was 40. Um, and it crushed me. Like, that part crushed me. But what happened when I saw her do that, it did something way beyond that. How I made it back to where I'm staying is beyond me. Because I mean, I was in a car, and I'm driving, and it's coming out, and I'm just like, and I didn't realize I was in shock. I had no clue I was in shock. I just thought I was bewildered and everything else. So I get back, and my whole body, I'm talking about every piece of my body, was in so much pain, from my fingers, hands, arms, legs, shoulders, stomach, back. Every piece of me was in so much pain, as if was working on a moving truck, and I'd have moved all the furniture myself. That's how bad my body was. I came back, I got back here, and I just crashed. And I was trying to lay down because I'm crashing, but I can't. It's hard to get to sleep because I'm in so much pain. Just by the grace of God, the next day was our community day, and the day after that was Sunday school and service. And just by the grace of God, those days existed because it forced me to get up, because I wouldn't have gotten up. I know I wouldn't have gotten up. And I had the stuff here for the community day. And it was weird because weeks earlier, like I said, I'm going to take it to the church early so we'll have it. And some kept telling me, no, just wait to take it that morning. And I'm glad that I did, because I wouldn't have got out of that bed. And if I wouldn't have got out Saturday, Sunday, I'm not sure if I would have made it. But having those 2 days, and even when I went to community day, and thank you for the mother that was there, because she knew something was going on. She kept asking me, was I okay? Because I was walking funny. I couldn't hardly walk. And so she ended up helping me put the stuff together and everything. And she kept asking me, so I told her what happened. And it was a relief to me. But my body, the more I talked about it, the more my body would hurt and tense up. The next day, with the church, I'm struggling, barely walking. I get there, and again, I announce to the church what's going on, because I'm like, I'm just so overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't know, because I was going to just keep this stuff to myself and try to figure out how to deal with this. But I poured out, and that Monday, like I was saying, because I was hoping that the other nurses that's what part of our congregation was going to be there to get my blood pressure, stuff like that, because I knew some stuff was off. So I said, well, Monday I'm going to my doctor's office. Excuse me, I went to my doctor's office, and they weren't there, so I went down to the emergency room. And being in there, I found out I was diagnosed with traumatic stress. I couldn't stop crying. Every time I would talk about it, I don't know what I appeared to them, but they ended up having a mental health person come down, and he was saying how he felt like after I leave there, I should see a psychiatrist and or a psychologist. And of course, I chose a psychologist because psychiatrists tend to give you medication. The other one tend to be more holistic. So I went with that. I wasn't able to find anybody, but what I had to follow my kidney doctor, because that's one of the things I was worried about, because the pain was all through my body, but the most of my pain was across my lower back, over where, right at my kidney, where my kidneys were. And when I got tested, I found out that my kidney function had jumped from my either 303 or 313 all the way to 409 creatinine level. So the lower ladder is not great anyway, but it's been stable over the years. But this, when it hit me, it jumped it up. And so I've been having issues. I started having issues. I kept crashing all the time. I couldn't stay woke. It seemed like between, if I get around 7:30, I would, 'cause I normally get up 4:30, be rolling by 5. I couldn't get up, and I would crash every day around about 1. And then it started reaching out to 2 to 3. So between 1 and 3, I would crash. I mean, with no control, so I couldn't be out anywhere, because if I'm out, I would crash. So a lot of times I can remember when I was coming back, and I was in that time frame, and I could feel it coming on, and I'm just grateful that I was on the highway. I can do 65, and I was able to get here a little bit quicker, but that's what happened. So then I had issues with concentration. If I had to read something that was a page long, if it wasn't just something real short, I couldn't concentrate. I would start stressing out. And I noticed when I would write or type, I was using wrong words, spelling stuff wrong. I mean, I was all over the place. And then I noticed that I would have these spells where I would see blood. And I noticed, and so from the vaginal area, and I was like, so it was like little drops. First, I'm thinking, okay, I got this new toilet paper. It's probably strong, because it wasn't as soft as the other ones. I'm like, okay, maybe I wiped a little too hard, because it wasn't a lot. And then it would stop, and then it would come back again. Then it would stop, come back, and then I started keeping a journal, and I started realizing that every time it would come back is when I'm thinking about what happened, or I'm talking about what happened. Well, I got to do something regarding sending documents in and stuff like that. So right now, and I noticed this is almost half an hour. I didn't even mean it to be this long, but just try to show the rest of this up right now. And I just wanted you guys to know, because I'm the kind of person, I feel like if I put something out and I'm requesting prayer, even though I didn't say it, I just showed the picture. So of course that's what it meant. And I'm grateful to everybody who prayed and kept me in their prayers. I really appreciate you, because it definitely helped me out tremendously. It helped me out. And but I wanted you guys to know why you were praying, and because it's not like me to not tell people what's going on, but I just could not talk about it, because every time I would talk about it, even try to type or write or text about it, I would start hyperventilating, and then I would start having trouble breathing, and all of these other different things would happen. So I had to take days and sections where I could talk to people in like a certain way, but I just wanted you guys to know what happened. And I also noticed the outcome of this, a lot of different variables to it, but right now I'm just still dealing with the bleeding. And even going to the bathroom. But number 2, anybody know me, if as soon as I eat something, give me an hour or so, I'm in the bathroom, because my body cleansed well. But I noticed since this happened, I wasn't going to the bathroom, and going to the bathroom like I know I should. At first I'm like, okay, because I know I was just eating differently, because I was too tired and too fatigued to cook anything, to make anything. So everything was just instant, and which I don't eat like that. So I thought, well, maybe I'm just not eating enough, because I was eating like a hearty meal once a day, trying to just nibble on whatever. And then I said, well, maybe I'm not eating enough. Maybe first I thought it was what I was eating. Then I said, well, maybe I'm not eating enough. And then I started eating a little bit more. And then I noticed that I normally go 3 to 4 times a day, if not more. And then I'm just not going at all, or going like once. And or I would eat, but nothing would happen that day until the next day. And it was very just strange. So I'm still dealing with a little bit of that. My body's I'm doing some other home remedy stuff. Try to keep everything going good. And and then my concentration, and you see, I like when I keep looking off, because like I said, when you see any videos that I do, I'm just strictly like this. So I'm still dealing with the concentration issues of it. I'm still having writing issues, where I'm using, like, instead of there, like the hyphen re, I'm using there like THERE. And I'm writing stuff, but then when I go back and look, I'm missing words out of the sentence, which I knew that I'm hearing myself when I'm writing or typing or texting, but I have to keep going back over everything. So I'm still dealing with that. And I'm doing better with the food. I got back with the salads and everything else that I'm eating that's, healthy. Um, but like I said, but I'm making sure that I eat, because I have literally no appetite. When it first started, I had no appetite whatsoever. I'm eating because I know I needed to eat, drink a lot of water because I know I need to drink the water. Then at one little section, I think that was week 4. I got to look at my journal. I think it was week 4. All of a sudden, it felt like I couldn't get enough to eat for a couple of days, and then all of a sudden, it went back to no appetite again. So again, when I'm eating because I know I need to eat, but I literally have no appetite. My stomach's not growling. Nothing is happening. So, and like I said, I'm still dealing with that, but I have filed an appeal on this, and I am dealing with the judge and the attorney. And another thing I thought was real interesting too is at the end of this hearing, and mind you, it was a 45-minute hearing. For 39 minutes, she talked about the settlement. In 36 minutes, she directed everything directly at me, but yet not letting me talk. Isn't that interesting? But also, she says at the end, she cuts me off once again, and she says, as the attorney for Geico, I just want to make sure this is my first time. I've been just 16 years, my first time ever doing this. Like if she was making an excuse. And I even at one point she even apologized to me. It was kind of strange. But she said, would you forgive me? And something else she was saying. But nonetheless, she asked him, she says, I want to make sure that I did everything right. That I didn't do I didn't do anything inappropriate. And she's asking him that. Did you feel I did anything was inappropriate? And I'm listening because I remember hearing some of it, but I don't recall all of it. Like I said, after I saw her what she did, I went out. I totally went out. So when I'm listening to the CD and I'm hearing it, and I realized he said to her that she did everything appropriate and he appreciated it. I couldn't believe it. So nonetheless, I'm dealing with that. See now, right now, honestly, just talking about it. I've tried to maintain this, but right now, right here, right across my back, mainly on the right side, it's starting to hurt really bad. So even though I'm trying to keep myself together, stress is still picking up on my body because of it. So yeah, so that's what happened. So that's what happened. And I just want to let you guys know, like, again, I thank you for all of your prayers and everything else. But just out of respect, I'm sorry it was so, not gonna say I'm sorry it took so long, but I wish it didn't have to take so long, but because of the health. And like I said, now since then I've been seeing a mental health person, but he's holistic, he's spiritual, he's a pastoral counselor. So that is actually even better for me, because it just, first of all, let me say this, I never thought that I would have to go that route in a way, but I'm grateful that I did, because it's interesting how, and I guess why a lot of people always talk to me, even a lot of mainly strangers throughout my whole life, even to this day, why people just come up to me and talk to me, tell me all their personal stuff and all this other stuff, not just with the human rights work, but just in general. And I think because even with me, I'm noticing just being able to talk to someone who has, as they say, no dog in this fight. They'd have nothing to me or the other party, and they totally unbiased. It's just a good feeling to be able to talk to somebody and get their input, and or things that, like, he did here, these cards things, one week that had these different questions on it, and I wish I would have had the picture right in front of me, but But it asked certain questions, and it started making me think about things differently. It made me think of things from the past. Also, um, it also helped me to be able to journal differently. Because like right now, over almost a week, I think it's been close about 5 days. At least I think it's been 5 days. I had journaled in my journal, and I haven't journaled the video journal because I've been doing it every day since this happened. But I haven't done it in the last 5 days. I think it may be five. I don't think it's been a full week yet, but because I noticed that I'm journaling, but it felt like I'm not journaling away from it, and it's like I'm journaling, I'm stuck. So I haven't found yet. Well, I thought I did found yet. I think I have it now. To be able to journal away from the circumstance. Because me journaling where I was, I feel like I'm staying stuck, even though I'm progressing. And like I said, I didn't know that I was even in shock until the third week when I broke free. Because I mean, I was war fan, war fan, war fan. Excuse me, I'm trying to turn this thing. Warfare, 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 and and when I broke free, I remember breaking free. I didn't know what I broke free from, but I remember breaking free, and I felt so good. I was still going through all of the other physical stuff and mental stuff, but I felt free in my spirit. And the next, I thought it was later that day or the next day, is when I was listening to the Atomic Power Prayer by what is her name? Cindy Trim, which is a phenomenal one. I've been listening to that every day for years now. I'm not actually over about 2 years. I think when the guy first gave it to me, but nonetheless, I've been listening to it every day, every morning. I play it, and when it got to the part about breaking free from the stronghold of shock, I felt this thing in my belly. I said, "Oh!" And then Lord was showing me this is what you broke free from. So I didn't even know I was stuck in shock all that time. And all right, this stuff is something. This stuff is interesting, but nonetheless, just like I said again, wanted to let you guys know what was going on, what happened. I wish I could have been able to explain this earlier, but one thing I will say is this: um, God could have shut that down at any time, but He didn't. And that's one thing that I focused on, and I asked Him on, like, what do I supposed to get out of this? And He told me, because of the work that I do, the human rights work that I do, I need to do it with more fire. And I've been praying to something, because I've been praying on that for the last 2 to 3 years, that I want to have more fire with this. I don't want to be rude and ignorant and loud and just whatever, but that. And He said, and because of you being, first of all, you have extreme patience. Then you are extremely polite and courteous. And you sat there and you allowed yourself to be open to that spirit to come into you. So as she's talking, and He said, because any other place, any other time, you would allow that, you would have shut it down, because you're like, I'm not in agreement with what's going on here. This is not what I'm here to do. You would have shut it down, but you did not, because you were trying to be respectful, you trying to be professional, and you left yourself vulnerable. So that's another thing that I want to say to us, that those of us that have these particular gifts, mainly in that way, we have to be very careful, because the enemy will try any means he can to get in and attack. And he attacked me something terrible. But again, my faith in God, even when they told me they wanted me to see a psychologist or psychiatrist, because I was sobbing to such a degree that I noticed in the records they said that they thought I might hurt myself or others. But like I told them there, when the guy said something, he said, "We don't want you to hurt yourself." I said, "You don't have to worry about that, because I'm going to heaven. I'm not being stuck here. I've been through too much in my lifetime, stuff that I didn't bring on, stuff that I did bring on, meaning that I knew I shouldn't have been dealing with this person, but I dealt with this person and this was the result, stuff like that. Or I knew I shouldn't have put this here, but I did. Next thing I know, it came back, somebody stole it. You know, different things, like little scenarios. But the majority of stuff that came on to me that I did not bring on, like I said, I made it through a lot of stuff, a lot. And I refuse to be stuck here burning to the end time with people who didn't love God, people who didn't care about God and his people, nothing like that. So I thought, man, I had to worry about me, hurt me, myself, or nobody else. Now, if I got to defend myself, that's not a problem. You know, but I'm just talking about just generally hurting somebody because I'm feeling bad. That's never what I would have ever done, but they didn't know that. So, but again, so we have to be very, very careful with these gifts, and be mindful that no matter where we are, don't allow ourselves to be susceptible to receive, because evidently her spirit was very wicked and the enemy was definitely able to grab a hold and come on through. So, and also the other side of it is that this is something that she has been doing consistently. And because of it, and maybe not trying to coerce people like she coerced me into the settlement, but other things that she has been doing, God didn't like, mainly with the position that she's holding. So I was a sacrificial lamb. There was some things I learned I had to get out of it, and we're going to move forward from there. But I just want to say again to let you guys know what happened. I'm working through the rest of this. I'm getting through, so I'm really feeling good. But today is the day I decided that I keep holding this stuff in from you guys, and it just was too much weight. I gotta let this weight go. So now that I did this and I feel good because I maintained my breath really good, my breathing really good. My voice didn't escalate like it normally would really escalate. It escalated some, but not to the degree. The pain in my back is there, so I'm gonna have to, like I said, relax now. Do some other stuff to try to settle myself back down. And another thing, with my sleeping, though, I got away from the crashing on Monday. Sunday was I think Sunday, Monday. No, I think last Saturday. And Saturday was the 14th. Is when I think it was my last crash day, because God kept telling me that I needed to rest, and then he kept bringing people to me saying, look, just what I heard, the Spirit God said that you need to rest. Whatever you're doing, stop. Don't do anything, just rest. So, and also then I started having situations where my mind would be racing and I just can't sleep. But last night, I remember, because a lot of times something going on, all of a sudden just a hymn would just come to me, or a scripture or prayer, whatever would just come to me, and it would settle me. So when I couldn't do it all last night, my spirit kept going to either that warfare, atomic prayer, and I was because I done listened so much, I basically know it. And so I started saying the prayer, or it's another one I was a guy. He was 11 at the time, and he was giving adoration to God. And I'm gonna try to put that link in here because it's a phenomenal piece and of ministry. And I kept hearing me uttering that, and every time I utter that, I would just drift back out. And like I said, when I wake up, go to the bathroom, my mind will try to race, and then I just automatically go back to that, and I'll just settle, just rest. So again, this is what happened. And like I said, again, the appeal has been filed. Other stuff has been done, and it will be done as well. So if anybody want to keep posted, I'll keep posted about that on my YouTube page. But I'm gonna post it on my Facebook so everybody can know what's happening. But again, it's 45 minutes. I didn't know it was gonna be this long, so hopefully, you know, it didn't take too much people out of their way to listen to this. But again, I just wanted to let y'all know what was going on and what was happening with me. And let me say this too, that anybody, if you're going through anything, if you need to speak to somebody, I mean, well, just to talk, like I said, it's just a relief to talk to somebody who has nothing to do with this whole situation, because the majority of people I talk to are the people that I help. So sometimes people, they do it from their heart, and they tell you, the best, they try to do for you, but it's because, more of you and not the situation. But I do have those prayer warriors who God talks through that gets messages to me too when my mind is too cluttered. So with this thing. But again, this is what it is. It's been almost 45 minutes, so I'm definitely getting off now. Peaceful dreams, sweet awakenings to you all. If this is night, and have a blessed day. If this is during the day. All right. Bye. 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 Okay. What was that? I thought, sorry. I was rubbing the door. All right. Bye.